What's going on, YouTube family? We just witnessed a great game, the Minnesota Timberwolves and Dallas Mavericks game 4, and we witnessed the Timberwolves basically stay alive, and they are now going and heading to Minnesota for a game 5.
Yeah, partially functional. Half of me is comfortable. The other half is close to the cliff, like Mrs. Huxtable. These boys got them hostess and clips. They pack like Lunchables, like white.
They got out of Dallas and stole one, and now the series is 3-1 with Dallas still leading. And the biggest story in this game was probably Cat and Anthony Edwards. And they both came and showed up. Anthony Edwards being aggressive, getting to the line, getting to the free throw line, getting to the cup, shooting mid-range, bank shots, threes. Overall just being aggressive, and then taking what the defense gives him, because Anthony Edwards had 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. So if they came and doubled, he was passing the rock and making right decisions. Although there were some decisions that I saw that were a little bit boneheaded, but the man is only 22 years old, and I believe as he matures and gets more into this game, he'll be making better decisions, and I think last game was kind of an example of that. Karl-Anthony Towns has been scrutinized for the way he's been shooting, and honestly, rightfully so in a sense, because he's been shooting below 30% from the three-point line and also in the mid-30s from the field goal in this series, but not until last night. Last night he had 25 points, was 9 for 13 shooting, and was 4 for 5 from the three-point line. And the biggest thing with Cat, he had a problem with shooting and foul trouble. Now, he got rid of one of those problems, the latter. The foul trouble was very evident, and he wound up fouling out the game with about, I want to say, a minute 30 or 2 minutes left in the game. But Cat still needs to find a way how to guard people without touching them, without fouling them. As I just mentioned, he needs to be able to play straight up and honest defense. And some of the decisions he makes in terms of fouling players is boneheaded in my eyes. But other than that, he had a very great game. And down the stretch, he was very pivotal and a big reason why they won the game. He had 3 threes in the fourth quarter. And one thing that I'm proud that he did was shoot less threes this game. He shot 5 and made 4. As long as you're making them, you're good. But I noticed he went downhill a lot, and he also went to the post a lot and was trying to get his buckets that way, warm up that way, by getting into the paint, getting a dunk maybe, a layup, fade away in the mid-range, whatever it may be. He wasn't just jacking up threes, which we saw the past 3 games before this. So props to him. This is what we needed from him. This is the Karl-Anthony Towns that we always expect, and we just need him to show up more like that. I say we, but I'm just saying the Minnesota Timberwolves just need him to show up more like that. But the biggest reason why they won is because, again, how I mentioned earlier, their 2 superstars outplayed Dallas Mavericks superstars. Kyrie had 16 points and was very inefficient, 6 for 18 shooting, 1 for 6 from 3. That's not going to cut it. Luka had 28 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists, which is absolutely insane. Those are insane triple-double numbers. And by anyone's standards, anyone who gets those kind of numbers, they would not be the person that you would blame for the game. And I'm not blaming Luka Doncic for the game either, because he showed up and did his thing. But what I am saying, though, is I think he could have taken better shots and had better shot selection. He was 7 for 21, 4 for 11 from 3, which is not terrible. And he did really good from the free throw line, but missed a pivotal free throw at the end where he had a chance to make a 4-point play and cut the lead down to 2 with, I believe, I think it was like, I don't know how many seconds it was. I know it was seconds left. It was like 8 seconds, maybe 18. I'm not sure. But I just know the game was almost finished, but he hit that amazing 4-point play, and he had a chance to tie up the game after the free throw. So props to him anyway, though, because he still played a magnificent game. It's just both the two superstars, if you combine for 33% from the field goal as a whole, that's never going to cut it. And I think another reason why they lost this game was they didn't have the big 7-footer of Derek Lively. He's 20 years old, and even though he's young, he's been providing such a energy on the court, and he's been providing a lot of hustle plays. He's been a lob threat. He's been an interior threat, especially for Anthony Edwards, who is the main scorer on that team and can get to the paint, but he's been a deterrent for Anthony Edwards. And I think missing him really hurt them, because if they didn't miss him, I think they could have won this game the way they had this game close the whole time, and Dallas didn't even play their best basketball. To be fair, the Timberwolves as a whole, you had the superstars playing well, but as a whole, not everyone necessarily played well. Jaden McDaniels did okay. He had 10 points. Mike Conley had 14 points. But other players that we expect to do well, like Naz Reid, he had 6 points. Didn't do too much. Colin Anderson, he didn't score a lot either, but I know he had 3 steals. So they affected the game in different ways other than scoring, which you should do as a role player. But at the same time, the Dallas Mavericks bench outscored Minnesota's bench by far. So usually when that happens, you have a great chance of winning the game. And the Mavericks kept the game close, and that's a big reason why I was terrified. Because I want to see the series go longer than 4. I didn't want to see them get swept. I am going for the Mavs because, personally, if I haven't shared already, Kyrie Irving is my favorite player. So I'm a Kyrie Irving fan, and I want to see Kyrie Irving succeed. And I do want to see him get his second ring. But first, I'm a basketball fan. And I love the game. I'm watching the game. And I'm just excited to see that they pushed the series further and brought it to Minnesota, because they have a chance to win in Minnesota because they're on their home floor. Now, granted, Minnesota, they haven't been winning games like that every time they go to their home floor. But even so, with that, I think they still have a great chance with all the momentum on their side and the pressure being on the Dallas Mavericks side to perform well, because this past game, they did not perform well last night. So those are my thoughts. I think, and another thing, Anthony Edwards needs to guard Luka, because there's a stat that when Anthony Edwards was guarding Luka went 5 for 15. That's not good. So there's a formula you can use right there. And I also believe Anthony Edwards shouldn't guard Kyrie anymore, because we've seen him get tired. We've seen the result of what Kyrie does when Anthony Edwards does guard him. And Anthony Edwards is such a big piece offensively for this team. Defensively, the Timberwolves do well, and you do as well as you can with guarding this team, because you have 2 juggernauts, you have lob threats, and you have PJ Washington, who looks like sometimes the 3rd best player on this team. So there's a lot of variables offensively for the Dallas Mavericks. So you can't stop a really great offensive team. But what you can do is limit them. And the Minnesota Timberwolves have been limiting them. Every game almost, except game 3. But every game has been close, to be honest. The only difference has been the Mavericks have the 2 best closers in the game, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. So to get back to my original point, if I was just terrified the whole game, because when it got to the 4th quarter, I noticed it was really close. So whenever it gets close, I'm always like, damn, Kyrie or Luka, pick your poison. They might take the game. So it's always just like a nerve-wracking thing for sure if you're rooting for another team, or if you're just rooting for this one team to win a game. So I'm excited. I'm glad they, again, pushed the series, because we don't see NBA basketball until June 6th if they had won last night. So I'm glad the game is going further. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts. Timberwolves change anything? Did the Mavs need to change anything for Game 5? What adjustments they need to make? Do they need a blitz? Do they need to do more defensive schemes? Or for the Mavericks to come back, or just for the Timberwolves to win the series. And Until next time, guys, I will catch y'all later. Milos out. Peace.